Hello comrades, welcome to another edition of Informal Review with literally no editing or none of that junk. As you can see, I'm getting horribly lazy in my old age, but it is what it is. Anyway, Middle-earth: Shadow of War. How is it? Well, as has been pretty much said by just about every reviewer and everyone all around, it's pretty fun. It expands greatly on the original stuff. There's a new loot system, a PokeOrc battle system, great big sieges with slightly customizable features in the form of upgrades, with a large skill tree featuring a variety of different ways to fight, maim, chop, and utterly brutalize those pesky little orc bastards. And all of this is experienced in a wonderfully fleshed out world that is nicely decorated with a parkour system that is as smooth as the first prototype games running and flying. Seriously, I love the double jumping in this game. It was such a good idea. I did not realize how absolutely necessary such a thing was until I actually got to play with it. So basically, it's a good game. It's worth the 38 bucks I got it for on Green Man Gaming. That is not a plug. However, there are some things wrong with it. The Gondorians are painfully boring, for example. Talion is also painfully boring, although at times his personality actually shines through that dull exterior when he is intermingling with WAAAGH or Celebrimbor. There's only a few jokes that really ebb away at his "I must save everyone's" personality, but it's really kind of brought out when he's around characters like WAAAGH. I should also mention that there might be too much to this game. Too much butter over, spread thinly across too much bread, to quote Bilbo. Maybe that's the wrong way to describe it, but essentially it just feels like there's an overwhelming amount of things to do and worry about in the form of collectibles and the skill tree and stuff like that. For example, the skill tree, while providing a variety of ways to play, it feels like it hampers your combat style at times because you're forced to spec into one trait per skill when there are 3 to choose from. Now, it is nice that you can change those at any time, but honestly, at that point, you can't help but wonder, why can't I just have them all and only certain skills be locked off? For example, with Elven Light, not being able to freeze and burn at the same time. It just makes sense. It makes sense. But traits like a well-timed counter replenishes one elf shot and counters provide might don't really seem mutually exclusive to me. I don't understand why I can't have both of those things. They would both be incredibly useful whenever I'm fighting orcs and hordes of archers and junk. Truly, that's actually my second biggest complaint in this game. What's the first, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Cheap shots. So many cheap shots. Whether it's a horde of archers that you have to pick off one at a time while you're getting smashed in by a group of WAAAGH, or backed up by 5 captains each with an elemental power of curses that force your focus meter to go down, or just a Karagor comes out of nowhere and because the prompt didn't pop up, it's just it's truly it's one of the most frustrating games I've played because of the cheap shots, especially if you're fighting higher level orcs. There's sometimes cheap abilities that those orcs can get. I played the hell out of the first game, and I just don't remember it being like this until a war chief was completely maxed out. Maybe I've gotten terrible at video games, which is entirely possible, as I've never really been good at them anyway, but I can't help but feel like it's largely intentional. Either which way, it breeds this desire to flee sometimes, which kind of in a way I like, though. I guess I don't really know how to explain it, because I see it as necessary in order for this game not to be a complete cakewalk. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just complaining to complain, I guess. What are some of the things that I don't really mind? The market? Crazy, right? Everyone is crying foul, but my response is just don't buy anything, and you won't see stuff like that in games. It's no big deal. I don't spend that much time hanging out in the menu anyway, and I'm definitely not going to buy something I can just get in the game within a few minutes. It's a waste of money. Why would you spend money on it anyway? So, yeah, don't spend money on the market if you don't want them to be in future games. I also don't mind this inclusion of Shelob. People who are upset about violated lore or something like that need to sit back and understand what this game actually is. It's like a nerd sat down and wrote a sweaty fanfiction action-adventure story. It's just fanfiction. Nowhere anywhere is this considered actual lore. It's based on the lore and everything like that, but it's an alternate story to the stories we've already been told. Who cares if they take poetic license with it to tell their own story? Isn't that the whole purpose? even if it's not the best story, and we already know how it's going to end. Plus, the ending story is kind of way better than this story anyway. But I mean, if you're here for the story, you're probably just going to be mid anyway. So yeah, don't come to this game for the story. But you're still going to enjoy some really cool characters along the way, like my ever favorite Ratbag and Big Old Dirty Bruise. Not to mention, again, you will see a few familiar faces. Like Sheila being a woman, that's going to be unexpected. You're not going to see that coming, I guess, if you haven't seen literally one of the millions of promotional material for the game that already talk about it. Anywho, or Gollum. You're going to see Gollum. He comes back at like one point in the game, so that's it's pretty interesting. But anyway, after about 30 hours, that's all I can really say. It was fun. I got my money's worth. The Nemesis system is still amazing. The orcs are still hilarious, even more so now. And the combat system is one of the most satisfying out there, and my still personal favorite combat system from any video game ever. Simply put, Shadow of War is definitely worth your money if you like hack and slash orc-filled power fantasies. Plus, there's a metric ton of replayability with Shadow Wars, the PokeOrc system with digivolving orcsies, with lots of online things you can do as well. And with that, that's my informal review. Sorry I've been gone a lot, lads and ladies, but hopefully I'll be able to post more than once a month here in the very near future. I have a lot of games to cover, from Total War Warhammer 2, Field of Glory 2, Chronicon, etc., etc. The list has grown absolutely extensive, and I've got a massive backlog, if you know what I mean. Hey! Anyway, with that said, I'll see you guys next time.